Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Jo, this is Joey Sewy, and if you're new around here, thank you very much for tuning in. This is a space where I talk about sewing and I talk about stuff, mostly sewing, and this is one of my regular videos. This is my favourites video, and even though I'm filming it on the 2nd of March, it's my favourites for February. So also thank you to you if you have watched for a long time. I hope you know how much I appreciate everybody who watches. So thank you for being there. So a couple of things before we get started, but we're going to get started really fast. I'm going to try something new with this video, which is putting just one advert in the duration of it. I know not everybody or anybody likes adverts, but they really help to fund my channel. So I'm going to try this as an experiment. If you hate it, please let me know, but hopefully you know that as YouTubers we do all of this essentially for free, and then try and find ways to support our channel. So I am going to have a go at having an advert part way through the video. So please give me your feedback, whether you understand and it's okay, or whether you absolutely hate that idea and you're going to turn it off. And then I will decide where to go from there. Fingers crossed. So my favourites video, I try and do this every month, and this is my favourites for February 2020. We are filming in my hallway. There are roof windows in this is my upstairs hallway. There are roof windows, and I chose to do that today because I wanted the window open because there are birds singing outside, and I hope that my microphone is picking that up. It's also already been blue skies, hail, snow and rain this morning, so I may have to shut the window to avoid getting rained on, but anyway, we're going to see what happens. I try and do the same categories each month with my favourites video, and the first one is my favourite Instagram hashtag or post. So you can find me on Instagram, I'm Joey Sewy, and I have been really diligent so far in 2020 with uploading things nearly every day. I wouldn't like to ever pin myself down to having to do it every day, but you certainly get a more contemporary kind of day by day update on what I'm doing, as opposed to the videos pop up less frequently than that. So if you are into Instagram, then go and find me, I'm Joey Sewy. And the post that I wanted to share with you this month is from, I'm going to have to check my phone, an account called Theresa WilliamsArtandstuff. It's not, as far as I can tell, it's not a really big account. Now I took a screenshot of this when I saw it, and I cannot remember how I found it originally, but she's an illustrator and particularly skilled in typography and that kind of thing, and I loved her style, and I particularly loved this quote when I saw it. So it's something she did for Martin Luther King Day, which is not a thing in the UK, but quite rightly, the magnificent man that he was, he's remembered in America. And the quote, as you will see from the picture, is, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." So yeah, not only did I love the style, and go and browse her grid because it's really nice work, but also that quote is just fantastic. It's something that I say in some form or another quite often to therapy clients, because I work as a therapist, if you don't know. Yeah, trying to do everything all at once, nobody can do that. You can only ever take the next step, and I think it applies to so many walks of life, not least sewing. You know, you can't sew a whole shirt in one go. You can only can't say a whole word in one go. You can only sew the next step, can't you? So you don't have to see the whole staircase, you only have to take the first step. Just love how that keeps your feet on the ground. So that, out of all the lovely things that I saw on Instagram, that was my favourite post, and I'm really tempted to get that and have it as a poster somewhere in my house. Next, it's my favourite YouTube video. Now, I'm stretching this a little bit because I'm going to make it my favourite watch. I want to make it accessible worldwide, but having said that, sometimes there are things which at the moment are only available in the UK. So I've mixed it up, and I've got something from previously iPlayer. Hello, Missy. One of my cats. Something from Netflix and something from YouTube. We've got 3. Now the first one if you can access this. Health warning, you may laugh so much you can't breathe, but it's a show called The Goes Wrong Show. It's on iPlayer, and it began with a Christmas special back in December, and I think there are 6 episodes, and it is that rare thing, a family comedy show that doesn't need to kind of have subtext so that the adults get it. It's just damn funny. It's so funny. It really reminded me of Morecambe and Wise and Monty Python. Whilst not being either of those, a lot of what they do is based on absurdity and incompetence and how funny that can be. But yeah, if you haven't seen The Goes Wrong Show on BBC iPlayer, I think originally broadcast on BBC Two, I recommend it with all of my comedy heart because it is so funny, and literally every episode had at least one point where I was laughing and I could not breathe. All 4 of the family, so from a 9-year-old up to me, the ancient 43-year-old, we loved it. All of us loved it. I believe it's based on a Broadway show called The Goes Wrong Show. So if you're near Broadway and it's on, I don't know, but in any form, I'm a huge fan, and I so hope that they do some more in the future. My next one, I haven't actually watched this yet, but I'm going to. It's called Next in Fashion, and it's a project. I can't speak today. I don't know why I'm trying to make you a video. It's called Next in Fashion, and it is on Netflix, and it is a Project Runway type thing. Like I say, I haven't watched it. I have heard good things about it, although a friend of mine watched it and said she liked it, but she thought the presenters were really annoying. I think that's a personal taste thing. One of the presenters is Alexa Chung, who was my favourite YouTube video from last month. So I do quite like her, but I don't know what she's like in this. Anyway, it's a sewing based thing, and so I think a lot of you out there are going to be interested. I assume it's available worldwide on Netflix, but I know it's available in the UK, so I'm hoping that that's going to be relevant to a lot of you. My third is actually on YouTube, so it is going to be available to you wherever you are. If you can watch this, you can watch that. And it is a channel, but one of the particular things on the channel. So the channel, I think it's just called Trinny, and the show on it is called the Trinny Takeover Show. Now Trinny, if you're in the UK, again, it's Trinny and Susanna, who back in, I would say, the late 90s or early 2000s, they did a fashion makeover type show on the BBC prime time, and they were all about making sure that you dressed right for your body type. Trinny is mad as a fish. She's completely out of her tree, in my opinion. There are madder people in the world, but she's just manic. But she does know what she's talking about. So the channel is pretty high energy, and the Trinny Takeover Show is basically what that old Trinny and Susanna makeover program kind of used to be, updated for Instagram and for 2020. It seems to have been going for a little while. I only found it about a week ago, and I've watched 3 or 4 back to back. And I really like it because it gives advice about colour, it gives advice about shape, it's quite entertaining. If you don't like Trinny, you're going to find it extremely annoying and probably unwatchable. But if you can get past that, or if you do like her, I think there's quite a lot of gems about styling and about fashion in that. So the Trinny Takeover Show, there will be links down below. And also from now on, in fact I started this a few weeks back, all my show notes are actually going to be on my website, so there'll be a full write-up of this video including all the notes. So actually in the description down below, other than the odd affiliate link where relevant, and I'll tell you about them if they come up, there will just be a link to my website. And then, because I can control how stuff looks on my website, I can show you pictures, I can say a little bit more, and I know that YouTube's formatting and all of that isn't going to mess up what I want to communicate to you. So all my show notes will be on my website, which is joeysewy.com. I'm Joey Sewy everywhere. It's very simple. Oh, I missed one of the YouTube videos I was supposed to tell you about, which is live streaming. I have begun to do some live streaming. So please keep looking out on the community tab of my channel or on Instagram, because I haven't got a fixed time when I'm going to do live streaming yet, because I'm just not organised enough and I don't always know when I'm going to be able to do it and so on. But I've done 2 live streams so far, one last weekend and one the weekend just gone, and they're probably going to be weekends, but I tried to vary when in the day I've done it so that different people around the world can tune in, and I will always be putting the live streams up afterwards so you can play back even if you're not watching when it's live, and they're just kind of chatty times when I'm actually doing some real sewing. So yeah, please look out for my live streams, and I would love it if you can watch along with those, and even if you can't, you can catch up afterwards. My favourite new sewing pattern is a bootstrap pattern again, and to be honest, I haven't been massively aware of pattern releases this month, so I'm sorry. I'm sure there's lots of lovely stuff out there, but this is a pattern that I have picked up and I've made this month, and it will feature in my February sewing video when I've made it. Not long. And it's a skirt, and I've been trying to push my own boundaries, inspired by seeing Trinny being mad, and also just kind of, it's something I've talked about a little bit on this channel, and it's something that I'm trying to do to try and find my own style. My life has changed a little bit over the last year or so in terms of my occupation and how I spend my time, so how I dress needs to change and update a little bit. Anyway, that's a subject for a whole other video, or possibly several. The skirt that I have been making is a pencil skirt, which also, I don't remember, I'm hesitating, but I think it's true, in my adult life I don't think I've ever worn a pencil skirt shape. Ever. Yeah, I would be willing to bet a fair amount of money, you know, at least £2.50, that is true. But I have nearly finished it, and I really like it. And I like this pattern because it had some interesting details, because skirts can be quite a boring sew. Not that I've made many, but they're so simple, some of them. And I wanted something that was a little bit more different, had a bit more scope for interest. And I love my hourglass shape, and as it does on my body, it really does kind of look hourglass, but the skirt also has enough space to move, which is the reason why I've never worn them before, is because I hate that constrained feeling, cannot stand it. But this skirt is turning out to have enough space and a really flattering fit. I would say, I don't know if it's me or something about the ease in that pattern. It did come out a little bit big, and so I've had to take it in a little bit. Nothing complicated. I was able to just do it by basically sewing the side seams a little bit narrower. So that was disappointing, because they're supposed to be custom sized patterns, but I couldn't swear that it wasn't me, and it was easily solved. It wasn't something that was wrong in a disproportionate way. I am using quite a rigid fabric. I've been making it in denim, so it might also be that the fabric literally was stuck out a bit more than anything a bit smoother would have been. I don't know. But that has been my favourite new pattern of this month, and that will be an affiliate link, because they do have an affiliate program. But all opinions are mine and nobody else's. Okay, next up, my favourite me-made garment. Do you want to shout out what you think it's going to be? Yes, it's the dress I made in February. It had to be. I thought, am I going to do that? It's so predictable. But the thing why it's predictable is because it's very deeply true. So if you are new to my channel, you need to go back. You must. You might want to go back and watch a video series of 3 videos that I did at the start of February, possibly back end of January. Anyway, I'll put a link about making a special dress. And it was quite a procedure. Again, it was a bootstrap pattern, but the outcome even was wonderful. I had an amazing evening. I felt incredible. I have a garment that I love. What's not to love? I do still owe you guys a tutorial on how to make the wide belt that I wore with it. I haven't forgotten that, and I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to fit that in March as soon as possible. So I will do that. But that is my favourite garment. Yeah, no contest. I haven't worn it again, and I don't know when I will wear it again, but it is my favourite garment. Right, my favourite purchase. We're going to go a bit random here, or at least a bit non-sewing. I try to do things sewing and non-sewing. So I've got 2 things for you. I've got perfume and a pan. there you go. So I bought myself some new perfume this month, and this is what I got. See how much you can see if I put my hand. I got a perfume called Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder. It smells like summer, and it's been miserable weather. So do you want to smell? Doesn't work, does it? It's lovely. They also do a version called Bronze Goddess Belle, and they were doing what they often do at cosmetic counters. If you buy 2 things, you get a free gift stuff. And so I got some of that as well. And the Bronze Goddess Belle has lots of coconut smell in it, so it really smells like sun cream and holiday. And it was lovely. Buying perfume is a hugely personal thing, not least because all of them change fragrance once they're on your skin. So I'm not saying you must run out and buy this, but I love scent. I don't like to be the kind of person that wears a perfume so strong that their perfume is around the corner before they are. But when I buy a new perfume, you will often find me going, because I'm constantly sniffing myself, which I'm sure is a fantastic look. So I wear it for myself and anyone who gives me a hug. That's the level of perfume I like to wear, but yeah, it takes me a long time to choose a scent. I've never really had, this is my scent. The last perfume I bought was last spring, actually, and that was, who makes Poison? Whoever makes Poison, I think that's Dior, isn't it? But it wasn't Poison, it was Poison Girl, which was a lighter, but still quite heady scent. And I did like it, but I decided I didn't want to repeat it. I like new stuff, new and shiny. So Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder is something I treated myself to this month. And so you will find me sniffing myself at every given opportunity. The other thing is a pan. Now this particular pan I bought a while ago, which is why you can see it's slightly discoloured. It's perfectly clean, you can see from the base though. It's by a brand called Stella, Stellar, and the finish on it is called Rocktaníum. Now why do I love it? I love it because, like many couples, I believe, my husband and I have a running argument about how you should fill a dishwasher and what should go in it. I think I have a dishwasher, I'm putting all my things in it. He thinks we have a dishwasher, but I don't want to ruin everything. And the truth lies somewhere in between, probably. But the thing that we've always, not argue, it's just one of those light-hearted gripes, is non-stick pans. I bought this a year ago. I bought him it for Christmas, not as a joke, but I don't really buy him pans for Christmas. I've been told off about that, actually. Anyway, I bought it at Christmas to make the point that this was supposed to be really good in the dishwasher. It was supposed to withstand the harsh environment of a dishwasher better than your average non-stick surface. And it has had a year of use, and it damn well has. So I win the argument. He won't like that when he watches it. Anyway, and I have just bought the next size up in this because I've basically killed the non-stick pan because I have put in the dishwasher, and I promised that if I killed the pan by putting it in the dishwasher I would buy a new one. So I have. So this is a 20cm pan, and we will soon have in our family a 26cm pan. They're not cheap, but I am hoping this is going to last years and years and years and years. I think the 26 is just under £30. Yeah, so they're not super cheap. We have an induction hob, which is a glass top hob where you need a particular kind of metal. These are suitable for that. They're suitable for any hob type. So if you have that marital argument, this could save your day. Stella Rocktaníum pans. Back on with my favourite gadget. This also you may be able to predict, maybe not, but I recently put up a video about how to measure yourself. I've been doing these custom sized patterns quite a lot, and I know a lot of people struggle, including me in the past, to measure themselves. So I have developed quite a few tips and tricks through experience about how to get that done on your own or largely on your own. And the key thing for me is a particular type of tape measure which you can put into a loop. I'll put a picture up, and that's my gadget of the month because I use it all the time when I'm measuring myself, and actually if I ever measure friends or people that I might be doing a little bit of sewing for, which I don't do a lot, but I do. So yeah, that gadget. I think we may have bought out the world's supply at present, but where I can, I will put a link. If it's an affiliate one, I'll put a note. In the original video, I said it was available on Amazon, and then I could not find it on Amazon. So I found it on one seller in the UK. Someone else has said that they found it on Etsy. So if I put the brand and the product name, you will hopefully be able to do a Google search in your locale and find one, because if measuring yourself is an issue that you are trying to deal with, then I would really recommend that tape measure that I showed you in my last video. Right, home stretch. We are on favourite podcast or audiobook or listen, and I have got a podcast and an audiobook. So your podcast is called All Hail Kale. And it's a health podcast which I happened upon completely by accident in the middle of the night on Saturday, because it's also broadcast on, was it Radio 5 or Radio 4? One of the two, but it's a podcast, so I'll put a link to the podcast available worldwide. And the particular episode that I listened to at that point was about how to breathe properly. Now, I've said I'm a therapist. The other thing I do is a yoga teacher, and I'm going to be rushing off very shortly to teach a mindfulness class. So I am all about breathing, but I hadn't really realised, because it's such a innate natural thing in my life, I hadn't really thought as deeply about how we constrict our own breathing. So this podcast really opened my eyes, even though this is something that I actually talk about all the time in my classes. And I was thinking, the way that we hunch over sewing machines, that really squashes up our lungs. And this podcast is all about genuine, scientifically proven or credible health improvements that you can make. That's its thing. So I would recommend listening to All Hail Kale. And they've got, I think they're on the end of their series 2. So there's quite a few to go back to that you can scan through if you want to. And then the very last thing is an audiobook, and it is the Next in the Rivers of London series. If you are a huge fan, you will already know about this. You may have already read/listened to it. But if you're not, or if it has passed you by, you need to run to your local bookshop right now, or local audiobook supplier, and get False Value, which is the Next in the Rivers of London series. I'm not going to tell you anything about the story, although if you haven't listened to any of the Rivers of London series, don't start here, start at the beginning, because there are 8 books already, I think, and graphic novels and little novellas as well, and feeling the story develop is just brilliant. I love that whole world. I love the characters. This book, without giving any of the plot away, I would say to begin with, for about the first third, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like it as much. Oh no, my heart is breaking. But by the end, it's definitely the start of a new trajectory, which it had to be because of where the story had got to in the previous book series. But it felt like it had done enough. It left me really hungry for more, and there is already a date for the next book. I can't remember it, but there is already a date, thank goodness. And there's a new graphic novel out as well to go alongside this. So there are things that we can feed our addiction with until the new book comes out. But yeah, I really enjoyed the new one. So if you're a Rivers of London fan, it's magical realism kind of style, but police procedural at the same time, because basically it's police wizards. Detective story based in a world where magic exists. Yeah, you need to read it to understand, but it's marvellous. And that is the sum of my favourites for February. I would love to hear what your favourites are down below. I often learn some really good tips, and I love to talk to you. Thank you very much for being there all the way to the end. You get a special sticker and I'll be back really soon. My next video is going to be all about my February sewing. Bye for now.